me tell y'all why I had to write this blog. Your girl almost settled. Meaning, I met, y'all, he was fine, okay? Holmes was so handsome. He was fly. And I legit almost settled. And he wasn't just like, okay, fine. He was like, Mekhi Phifer, fine, like, anywho. So let me read to you how this all came about and why we're talking about reciprocity tonight. So if you go on lifestylery.net, there's a blog post called Real Recognize Real. And that was what I went through about a week ago. Our heroine is now sitting on her couch. She is trying to figure out how she wants to handle this man going forward. And as she is thinking about him, she is thinking about how much she has grown to like him, but he lacks consistency. And not only does he lack consistency, but he had a hard time giving her everything that she was giving to him. However, she really, really liked him. You know, sometimes we see the best parts in people and we want to pull for that person. We want to give to that person. We fall for potential, and that was really there. So in the blog post, our heroine goes to give him a call, and of course it goes to voicemail because he has a tendency not to pick up the phone. And at that moment, she gets really frustrated and stressed out, and she calls a guy friend. And this actually happened about a few Thursdays ago. So I call my guy friend, and I'm explaining this whole situation to him. I'm saying to him, you know, I found this guy. I really, really like him. He's been around since about Christmas. You know, we've been off and on, but I've really grown to like him. And he's opened up just a little bit. And he says to me, well, what made you really, you know, start to like him? Tell me about him. So I tell him, I'm like, you know, he is a wonderful guy. He's funny. He is ambitious. He went through a tough custody case with his daughter. He fought tooth and nail to get custody of his daughter, and watching him go through that really made me respect him. And when he's good, he's good. However, he's got these trust issues because of what he's gone through. So he'll open up, but then he won't open up. And I find myself making excuses for why he's not around, or why he won't call back, or why he can't give me the same thing that I'm giving him on a day, you know, consistently. And my guy friend was very blunt, and he says to me, man, I'm not really impressed. Because first of all, and I'm going to use some very strong language because he used strong language. First of all, you driving this car, girl, you be good. So he says, first of all, that trust shit, that guy, we said it, is a cop out for not wanting to open up. Life is too short to give to somebody and they're not giving anything back to you. You can't be trying more than he is. Life is too short. And you know how I feel about reciprocity. And I was like, you're right. Okay. And he says, secondly, Shamar, you can't give a man credit for what he's supposed to be doing. So he went to court and got his daughter. He's a father. That's what he should be doing. So you can't give a dude credit for what he's supposed to be doing. You're too good of a woman to lower yourself and excuse somebody. That was legit the bluntness that I needed. And I thought about that and I said, you know what? You're right. And then he says to me, if he can't reciprocate what you're giving him, then he doesn't deserve it. And that's what we are talking about tonight. Sometimes, you know, we fall in love or we fall for the potential of somebody, be it man, woman, even friendship. We see who a person could be and we fall for that. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with sticking around to build someone up. But what I am saying is this. In that process, you have to make sure that you are seeing things for as they really are. Don't put your blinders on. Because in that process of growth, you have to make sure that you are seeing this person for who they are now as well. Because sometimes they may not be ready for everything that you have to offer and everything that you have to give. Women have a big thing with thinking that we can change people or we can mold them into who we see or who we like them to be. And that simply isn't always going to be the case. If you think about the word reality, Webster's dictionary describes reality as the world or state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. Meaning, realistically, You have to see that person for who they are, not what your idea of them is, or not what your notion of them is. And because I saw little snippets, I created someone that wasn't there at this point in time, if that makes sense. And I found myself giving and giving and giving to someone who I just created. He was there physically, and I saw snippets, but that's not who he was. And that's not who he was ready to be. Okay? So, when I say all that, I mean this. You know, romantic love is such a strong emotion. Romantic feelings are such strong emotions. I mean, and you look at it scientifically, and I'm not one to break down love scientifically. I don't believe it can be broken down that way. But when you look at it scientifically, your brain releases so many chemicals in your body when you fall for someone, and you literally begin to crave that person. And those chemicals create almost an addiction. So you have to be very careful to take a step back and see people for who they are. So when I say the art of reciprocity, I mean this. Make sure that who you are investing your time in is ready to invest in you as well. It becomes extremely tiring to give, pour, and you're not receiving anything in return. Because if you're anything like me, and I always felt like as a woman, as a person, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I have a very selfless heart. I have to give to these people. What do you mean? You know, I have to pull back some. That's such a selfish way of thinking. That's what I thought. And I would run myself into the ground, giving and giving and giving to someone who wasn't ready to give it back. And then wondering why my heart was heavy, or wondering why I felt heavy. The art of reciprocity is this. You get what you give. And that's just real. And if you find that you are constantly giving more than the other person, and I find that that's in any relationship, whether it be romantic or whether it be platonic. If you find that you are giving more than what you get, that is an issue. It should be equal. That's just, and that's something I've heard, that I've had to learn. Now, are there times where you might have to be the stronger person? You might have to give a little bit more love, support, and encouragement? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there should also be times when you're getting that in return. That's where we are. I'm not ever saying that there won't be a time where you can't be the one to hold things down, because you might have to. But all the time, bruh. You got to think about that for a second. And in my case, this was happening all the time. And the reason why I say your girl almost settled, your girl almost fell for the okie doke, your girl almost fell for the handsome face and the nice body. And let me stop, because I might get myself all caught up in this already. The reason why I tell you I almost fell for the okie doke is because I found myself always giving and giving and giving. Meaning, he wouldn't call back for a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time. But then when he would call, it was always an excuse such as, oh, I had this going on, I had that going on, I've been working so much. Really, dude? Really? If someone tells you, oh, I haven't had the time to, hello, elegant moments, how are you? Thank you for joining. I thought I saw Timothy somewhere. That's my boy right there. If someone is telling you that much, that they really are working that much, that they can't reach out to you, and that they can't, see about you or checking on you, really? Because the fact of the matter is, dude, or homegirl, we all really working out here. We all pulling these shits. We all working hard. It's real out here in this for all of us. Thank you for sharing. It's inviting your followers. It's real out here for all of us. It takes 15 seconds to send a text. Hey, how you doing? I'm thinking about you. I miss you. 15 seconds. You know how I know? Because I'm crazy enough to have time that bad boy just so I can prove my point, right? So there is never a reason when someone loves you or cares about you, or more importantly, and my grandfather told me this,